This week on It's Happening Out. Trump shuts down Cuba. We will go there and show gay and Cuban pride. Joe Biden is officially in the race. Should Trump be running scared?
Folks, America's an idea. An idea that's stronger.
On our road to Stonewall, Glass founder Vito Russo.
Whatever you think belongs on a gay television show, please write to us.
And our Chef Josie's in the kitchen again, cooking lion fish, the iguana of the sea. It's all happening out tonight. Join us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Special guest, NapoleonPlays. And your host, fashion designer Carlos Marrero. Trans activist Aaron Phoenix. Reality star Chef Josie. DJ Diva Power Infiniti. Log cabin Republican Joe Brookman. And our host, Al Ferguson. It all starts right now, live on It's Happening Out.
Well, hello, America, and welcome to another episode of It's Happening Out, America's most popular live gay talk show. And do we have a great show for you? Are you watching the news? Oh, my goodness.
Oh my God.
Are we getting ready to talk about lots of interesting things? We thank you for joining us. First and foremost, we want to tell you we're coming from the Fort Lauderdale Grand Hotel here in Wilton Manors, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's the gayest place on planet Earth. And we're broadcasting live from the Crisp restaurant and bar, and we have been drinking for about 2 hours now, and so we're really, really happy here at the Grand Hotel Fort Lauderdale. So
we're ready
welcome.
for you.
One of the things, let's get right off the bat, is Joe, you look a little different. Oh yeah, we've
Younger?
Joe is moving to Wilton Manors.
What?
There's going to be 100,000 blue gay guys and girls and Joe Brookman. So he's en route driving a big truck as we speak from Washington, D.C. The last Republican out of the Capitol, please turn off the lights. And replacing him tonight is NapoleonPlays. Welcome, Napoleon.
Yay!
Yeah, Napoleon.
I'm back, everybody. Hello.
Very little applause, which is basically I embrace.
Yes,
All
as
right.
we know you can't judge size very well.
We are live, and we invite you to share us a watch party and subscribe to us on Facebook and YouTube. And Napoleon, we're getting ready to show a video here of a watch party. Walk us through what we do to create a watch party on our social media and Facebook.
Absolutely. When viewing our show in your app, please click share. After clicking share, your screen should change and you can click watch party. On the next screen, you can write text to your viewing audience and then click start watch party. You've done it. Now you can control the conversation in your own private chat of our episode. It's a lot of fun.
And welcome to the Barnum and Bailey.
Exactly right.
Hope you got that, all right?
America, I hope you were watching this as we were showing this piece of crap that we were just broadcasting as Napoleon is...
Bitch, that was like an interpretive dance. I swear from So You Think You Can Dance or
Yes,
something.
exactly.
I'm trying to make it accessible for all ages, no matter how incompetent.
Yes, okay, all right. Well, the bottom line is schedule a watch party right now and share it with your friends and family. All right, let's start the show. We begin every week with the meme of the week. Here is a good one of our meme of the week. Who wore it better in honor of my friend Carlos Marrero? Oh, Wait. This is a redacted report, it seems to me, of who wore it better. We love this meme of the week. America, as we move on from the meme, I remind you, I'm holding up something right now. Look at this. It's very important. It's the chip. The chip is powerful. Why are you people still talking? You're going to hear a bell throughout the entire show, and the bell says, please, Power, please shut up. We're tired of hearing you. And when you hear that bell, if Power has something else to say, he's going to pick up his chip, and he's going to throw it right into the middle, and that chip buys me a drink tonight. And that's how it's going to work. The only way any of our hosts get another minute to keep us talking is if they give up a chip. But I caution all of you, you only get to use it one time through the show tonight.
Can I say that I like the dress better than the report? You didn't give me a minute.
The thing that's the best about it is that they're both on Schitt's Creek, so it works out very well. It's like a
The reads start early and at the top of the show. All right, let's begin. Welcome to It's Happening Out. And of course, we must begin with headlines.
Alrighty, so I'm going to start right now. Chip. All right, first things first. I'm not even going to let you start with any of it. The most important thing this week.
NapoleonPlays has cashed in his chips.
I'm taking my time.
All right.
The most important thing this week was Avengers Endgame. That movie is the culmination of 22 movies. You've heard all the stuff. You've heard all the spoilers. You are as excited as I am because holy hell should you be excited. And I'm not going to get into everything you should be excited about. I'm going to talk about it from the gay perspective because right now, this is the first gay character that you get to see on camera in the MCU and possibly in any epic film series that has yet come to a movie. The very first out gay character, at least. And it's not just that. It has nothing to do with him having sex with another character or anything at all. In fact, it's just one guy played by one of the Russo brothers, the director, who is there to say that he is... You all know about the snap that happened in Infinity War. He's talking about missing his husband from the snap. And if you don't know, then you're not following the news of important things.
What show are we on?
We're on Avengers Endgame. Okay, I'll recap very quickly. Gay character in the MCU for the first time ever. Legendary. And in case you're bored for some other thing, there's a moment for women's rights. I'm going to try not to spoil any of it, but it's literally just gay on the MCU.
I have never been so happy to hear the end bell in my entire life.
I hope you
I'll have what she's having.
I
This bitch was talking fast like Speedy Gonzalez.
I
I have no
God.
idea what was just said.
I hope you last as long
somebody
in
wants
bed
to throw
as you
another
do in
chip
your one
in
breath.
here to rebut whatever was
I don't need
just
to
said.
rebut that shit.
Wait,
There's a great
let's
butt
all
moment,
let's all
too.
pick up our drinks and just read. For a moment. There's this little thing called the Avengers. We get it. Thank you. All right, let's move into headlines. Big news today, of course, the Attorney General testified to the Senate. Now, to all of the hosts, breaking news at this hour, in the last hour, the Attorney General Barr said, who is supposed to testify tomorrow at the House Judiciary Committee, has said after his experience today at the Senate Judiciary Committee, I'm not going.
He can't take it.
He can't take it. He's picking up his toys and going home. First off, let us show you a little bit about what happened today at the Senate Judiciary Committee. Watch this.
Community.
Cooperating to instruct a former aide to tell the Attorney General to unrecuse himself, shut down the investigation, and declare the President did nothing wrong.
I don't think, well, obviously, since I didn't find it was obstruction, I felt that the evidence could not support an obstruction.
I'm asking if that's fully cooperating. I'm not asking whether that's obstruction. Is that fully cooperating?
Yeah, he fully cooperated.
So by instructing a former aide to tell the Attorney General to unrecuse himself, shut down the investigation, and declare the President did nothing wrong, that's fully cooperating.
Where is that in the report?
That is on Volume 2, page 5. On June 19, 2017, the President dictated a message for Lewandowski to deliver to Sessions. The message said the Sessions should publicly announce that notwithstanding his recusal from the Russian investigation, the investigation is very unfair to the President. The President did nothing wrong.
Right. Okay, so
cooperating?
Well, firstly, asking Sessions to unrecuse himself, we do not think is obstruction.
And declare the President did nothing wrong. I'm not asking you if it's obstruction. He's cooperating.
Well, I don't know if that declares the president did nothing wrong, although the president, in terms of collusion, did nothing wrong. Isn't that correct?
Well, collusion is not a crime. It's the obstructing. But is that fully cooperating to say that?
Well, I don't see any conflict between that and fully cooperating with the investigation.
Well, as you can see, it was a big day. There is dramatic testimony. We're going to see all of it in the next 24 hours. Of course, we're not going to see it in the House Judiciary explosion because remember, this is the Senate is controlled by the Republicans, the House by the Democrats. Why did this happen in terms of its timeliness? I challenged our production staff as early as this morning about the reporting that came out yesterday on the leak of Mueller's letter that he had sent to the AG Barr. And I said, it just doesn't sound right that Mueller said the things that he said. And by 10:30 this morning, guess what? Production smashed it into my face and said, here's the letter. They came up with it at 10:30. We want to show it to you right now. We're showing you the original letter that went to the Attorney General from the Special Prosecutor Mueller. And we've pulled out of the letter the big important notes. First slide. According to Mueller, he says to the Attorney General, I am requesting that you provide these materials to Congress and authorize their public release at this time. He was challenging the AG not to redact or especially to summarize and continue in his summarization. He continues in the letter in our second slide. The summary letter the department sent to Congress and released to the public late in the afternoon of March 24 did not fully capture the context, nature, and substance of this office's work and conclusions. We communicated that concern to the department on the morning of March 25th. That's an all-stop, people. Mueller's third observation to the Attorney General. Slide 3. There is now public confusion about the critical aspects of the results of the investigation. This threatens to undermine a central purpose for which the department appointed the special counsel to assure the full public confidence in the outcome of the investigation. Now, last week, let me apologize. I said on the Mueller report, what's the big deal? I was not aware of this letter.
You were a little confused.
And I was
Part
a
of the
little
confused public, right?
There was a big deal. What do y'all think about what's happened today with the AG and what Mueller said to the AG?
I was a very good Catholic school boy, and I worked on reports forever, and I was honor society, whatever, but I was always very good. Imagine you working on something for 2.5 years,
Right.
and then you get sick with diarrhea, and then you give it to your sister to go present in front of the school, and then she goes and does a little doo-doo, no pun intended, and messes up your whole project. That's what I think it happened here, because he does not represent the president. He represents us. We pay for him. So this is all a fiasco. Barr is a longtime member of the Virginia State Bar, and he intentionally lied. And under the Rule 4.1, that is a violation and grounds for disbarment. How do you say it?
Disbarment.
Disbarment. Okay.
And disembowelment too. We can do that.
Exactly. What I just don't understand that preposterous. It's just crazy that he's able to do this.
I think that going back to Trump, I think that this is yet another example of obstruction of justice on Trump's part, because he picked this lackey, okay, knowing full and good damn well that Barr was incompetent and would be basically a defender for him. And so this was his pick in the beginning was an attempt at obstruction of justice, and this is what we see the result of. This is just par for the course when it comes to Trump's administration, and Trump's lackeys.
Listen, this is an administration filled with people with agendas, okay? The agenda is to divide us. They are succeeding at that because they're confusing the entire public. We have to be smarter than this.
Grr.
Well, big news today in the news of the Attorney General Barr testifying. The Mueller letter is very significant. And the one final observation that I make, and I retract my observations last week to all of you. I really wish Joe was here tonight for me to be able to have this conversation with him. He told Congress that there was no issue of communication when that Mueller letter existed, and he lied in Congress and said, no, there was no issue. It's a big deal, and we're going to see this as a big deal. Let's continue in headlines. Another big headline this week happened with an immediate number one front runner in politics on the Democratic side, and that is Joe Biden's announcement for running for president. And the battle that took place between the old guy and the even older guy. First off, watch this video announcement on Joe Biden.
It was there on August of 2017 we saw Klansmen and white supremacists and neo-Nazis come out in the open. Their crazed faces, illuminated by torches, veins bulging and bearing the fangs of racism. And a brave young woman lost her life. And that's when we heard the words of the President of the United States that stunned the world and shocked the conscience of this nation. He said there were, quote, some very fine people on both sides. Very fine people on both sides? I wrote at the time that we're in the battle for the soul of this nation. Oh, that's even more true today. We are in the battle for the soul of this nation. We can't forget what happened in Charlottesville. Even more important, we have to remember who we are. This is America.
Well, as you can see, it was big news this week that Joe Biden announces he is now the number one front runner in every poll going on in America. Familiar face, his former vice president with President Obama as Vice President Biden. What do y'all think in terms of the news this week of his announcement?
Well, I think that once again, Trump is, he's wounded. He's wounded by the fact that Biden is a threat, and his own advisors, I don't know if you guys knew this, but his own advisors have asked him not to go after Biden. They've asked him not to go after Biden because they look at Biden as probably the biggest threat, and by doing so, it actually helps to boost Biden and get Biden closer to the general election, which they do not want him to go up against Biden.
So you're saying he has a different tactic than he's had for every other person he's gone up against, and he's actually going to just keep hands off and be a human?
Oh no, but clearly he has not listened. He has not listened to his advisors. His advisors are telling him that they, are asking him not to engage with Joe Biden this way. But of course, Trump is not listening, and the fact that Trump has sent off how many tweets?
160 or something like that.
This morning,
since last night.
Yeah, since last night, proves that he's wounded, and Trump's misery is my delight.
That's funny. I asked production to put up the tweet slide that we have on Donald Trump about Joe Biden, about Sleepy Joe. I thought this was incredibly personal. This tweet was incredibly personal. And it's interesting to me, one of the things with Biden is all of the firefighters coming out for Joe Biden. It apparently has created a spur in the saddle. Yes. Today alone, before 6:30 a.m., I believe the president had tweeted from midnight to 6:30 a.m. more than 160 times today. I believe that's the reporting I hear. It's quite interesting. Close to home, here it's happening out, our online host, Chris Warner, he has bet me today, and we go on record today on the bet. He has bet me that if Bernie or Trump is elected the president, Chris wins a bet with me. If anyone else wins for president, other than Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump, I win the bet. I, of course, quickly took that bet because Donald Trump probably is not going to win, although he could. Bernie Sanders is definitely not going to win. So
wait a minute. Last week you said that Trump would win. I do
think Trump can win the election. If he does, I will lose this bet.
I don't know. After today, it's his whole entire administration is going to crumble before us, and eventually we're going to have to take action, guys.
We're forgetting Russia, bitches. We're forgetting Russia.
All right,
please.
Let's move on in our headlines, we always talk about the best thing of the week. Something very interesting happened this week.
I already talked about the Avengers.
And yes, and we reported about what was going on about our green initiatives, especially plastics. And we watched this video from Aquaman this week, the best thing of the week. Watch this on Jason Momoa.
Anything on Jason Momoa.
Importantly, I just want to do this to bring awareness that plastics are killing our planet. And I think I have a solution. I don't want to bitch about it. There's only one thing that can really help our planet and save our planet as long as we recycle. That's aluminum. About 75% of all aluminum that's ever been used is still in circulation today. And it's 100% recyclable. So you drink the can, and in about 60 days, it'll be back. There's a change coming, and it's aluminum. You gotta get rid of these plastic water bottles. Aquaman's trying to do the best he can. My kids, for your kids, for the world. Clean up the oceans, clean up the land. Love you guys. Yeah.
Wow. Woo! Sexy.
Oh, I love me some Aquaman, and if it is an Aquaman or a Superman, I choose the water every single time. Just saying.
I don't care how he comes.
No. Right.
Beard or no beard?
Right, exactly. All right. Well, the reason why. Oh, and by the way, Joe Brookman is watching us, and is
hey,
commenting
Joe,
on
what's
stream.
up?
Okay. Well, best thing of the week with Jason, and look at this slide. Look what happens here. We break the news that San Francisco is the first major American city in the United States
good
to
job,
ban
San Francisco.
plastic. Very gigantic event, and it supports the idea that it definitely is the best thing of the week.
San Francisco's
Next
always
in
on
the headlines.
Meanwhile, we have plastic straws.
If you have been to Utah and to Salt Lake City, you know the Church of Latter-day Saints, the Mormons, are headquartered. Their worldwide headquarters are there. And BYU, Brigham Young, the founder of the Mormon Church, a very, very good school. They had their commencement this week. And the valedictorian did a speech in front of, I believe, approximately 23,000 people. Watch what the new valedictorian at BYU said. Watch this.
Congratulations to my siblings of color, my LGBTQ friends. That's right. To students who are walking with mental illness, to all those who constantly have stood in the face of adversity to make our campus better for future generations. You are seen, you are loved, and today you are here to celebrate. I recall countless times here at the Y where I have battled and fought in prayer with my Maker. It was in these quiet moments of pain and confusion that I felt another triumph. That of coming to terms, not with who I thought I should be, but who the Lord has made me to be. As such, I stand before my family, friends, and graduating class today to say that I am proud to be a gay son of God.
Yes.
I look forward to the day where we don't say this. How incredibly brave, Matthew Easton, for what you did in front of 23,000 people in the hometown of the Mormons. He is Mormon himself. Congratulations in coming out in a very unique way at your as valedictorian at your commencement. You certainly have many great things ahead of you when you're capable of doing that. Our final note in the news this week is going on in Venezuela, and we show you this slide. We're not going to show you any of the video that is going on. It is quite devastating. Depending on which side that you're on, a military coup is going on, which is suggested by some, or an uprising to establish democracy in Venezuela. Regardless of which side you were on, we make note of the major news that is taking place as we speak in Venezuela. And of course, we're watching it closely. So that's our headlines this week. We move out of our headlines and let's do something a little lighter. And I always say my favorite part of the show, and that is I'd swallow that. And to all of you that are messaging me saying I have an alcohol problem, that is not true. Correct, Cast?
No,
friends?
It's very
He's
true.
a wino.
I would have to use my chip for the. I'm not ready yet.
Yeah, all right.
I drove you home last week. I don't know what you're talking
Please, why are y'all still talking? Okay, let's play I'd Swallow That. Now, this week we're going to do 3 questions. This is an agree or disagree game. We're using Live Proud vodka, and these are vodka mixtures of concoctions that are quite hefty.
These are special today.
Yes, today
Right.
I made a little special cocktail for you guys because, I thought, well, let's jazz it up a little
Jazz
bit,
it up, all right.
And so there's a little passion fruit.
Fornication and sin.
I love passion.
Yeah.
Okay, play along with us at home, whether it beer, wine, whatever you would like to do. It could be a non-alcoholic drink like Napoleon's. So let's play.
Like most
Agree
people
or
on a Wednesday
disagree.
night.
If you agree, you take the shot. If you don't touch the shot. Everybody understand? We ready to play?
Ready, steady.
I'd swallow that. Question 1. I'd swallow that. If I could erase my memory of an ex as if I had never met them, I would.
You know who you are.
Oh wow!
But you wish you
Now
didn't,
watch
apparently.
the girl comment in the live chat.
Yeah.
No one in particular, bitch.
Hey, can you say a name?
I will not.
Wait, was it a girl?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. All right. Question 2.
Wow, we're so good.
I'd swallow that.
Make us who we are.
I'd swallow that.
Yeah.
I have a special talent
Oh yeah.
that not many people know about.
Mine is keeping the
sucking
mic to
dick.
my mouth.
Girl, everybody knows about that.
Oh.
And there goes a
They
sponsor.
just don't know how special.
That was really
That's
tasty.
Now,
Relatable.
Napoleon, what's the special talent that very few people know about?
Well, if I
One
told you-
sentence.
if
Tell
I-
me.
A very special. I can ride a unicycle.
You can ride a unicycle
I can ride a
today.
unicycle.
If we pulled out
Oh my
one,
God.
you
Wow.
could do that?
I can ride a
hilarious.
unicycle.
Next time, hey, Steve or somebody from production, next time that we have Napoleon on the show, which will not be, by the way, until 2021, the next time that we have him on the show, let's make sure we have a unicycle. I want to see that. What was your special talent?
Oh God!
have a
I play the
unicycle?
Spanish guitar.
I do. I can ride
Spanish
anything
guy-
else.
Do you sing?
Is that innuendo? Or?
No, I don't sing. I mean, I think I can sing, but I'm not gonna sing because I know what you bitch is gonna make me
That's
do.
right. What's your
and
special
I'm not
talent?
doing that.
What's your special talent?
Ask Marcy.
What's your special talent?
Ask Tomcat.
Don't get off the hook.
on.
What's your special talent? They
Don't make it
used
3 for 3, bitch.
They talked your joke. What's your special talent?
I said it.
Sucking dick.
A deep throat,
I can't
bitch.
believe I just.
All right.
Wait, so does that
All
mean,
right.
Al, you have no talents?
No,
Is that
took
what
the
I saw?
No, I took the shot too. I'd swallow that. Question number 3. I'd swallow that.
Man.
I am a big enough person to admit I could improve in the bedroom.
And if,
Oh,
if you don't think you
everybody.
can, then you don't understand how improvement works.
I mean-
I know. We
Don't
can all
shame
grow. We
us.
can
There's so
all
many different
grow.
factors. There's so many
and
factors.
we should all want to grow.
And get more fun in the bedroom.
I gotta build more
Plus,
furniture.
other
There is a
people.
pill for growing.
Now, I'm curious to the person at the table that has big dick energy, how could you improve?
Like I said, build more furniture.
Build more furniture because
Yes, girl.
he breaks it.
This reminds me of another
No,
moment.
girl, we got specialty furniture for the kinds of things that we do at my house.
Oh, yeah, that's what makes a dungeon is the specialty.
Okay. All right.
Whoa.
That's our game. I'd swallow that. And,
Well, and that's also what will help relationships stay perky. You know what I mean? And exciting.
Just needs
Perky.
And,
What
I
gay
don't
man
even
uses
address.
the word perky?
I am now.
All right. All right. Let's move on. On Sunday, I leave.
Bye, Al.
The reads are deep and vast. Even production is doing their hands in the
All
air.
of America cheered.
Yes. On Thursday, many of the people here, including Josie and Napoleon, much of our production, we are on our way to the least controversial place on the planet. Cuba. And we're going as an American delegation, a nice-sized American delegation to support their Havana Pride. And it's the parade is next Saturday, May 11th. And we've assembled some of the guests that are going with us. And before we do that, Cuba is in the news. As you know, Helms-Burton has been threatened. Yesterday, the president announced that if Cuba did not withdraw from Venezuela, he was going to implement a complete and total embargo of Cuba. And the prospects of you being able to travel to Cuba are dwindling. We are going to be the last, if he fulfills his threat, which he doesn't always do, if he fulfills his threat, our organization, I'm feeling the shots, by the way, our organizational group going to support Havana Pride may be among the last Americans turn out the lights when we finish. Listen to what the Secretary of State this week said, and then we're going to talk about what's going on in Cuba. Watch this.
In 1996, Congress passed the Cuban Liberty and Democratic Solidarity Act, also known as Libertad. Under Title III of that Act, United States citizens who had their property confiscated by the Castro regime were given the right to file suit against those who traffic in such properties. Cuba's behavior in the Western Hemisphere undermines the security and stability of countries throughout the region, which directly threatens United States national security interests. The Cuban regime has for years exported its tactics of intimidation, repression, and violence. Sadly, Cuba's most prominent export these days is not cigars or rum, it's oppression. Détente with the regime has failed. Cozying up to Cuban dictators will always be a black mark on this great nation's long record of defending human rights. The Trump administration will no longer suspend Title III. Implementing Title III in full means a chance at justice for Cuban Americans who have long sought relief for Fidel Castro and his lackeys seizing property without compensation. We're on the side of what's right and what is just. Today, we are holding the Cuban government accountable for seizing American assets. We're helping those whom the regime has robbed get compensation for their rightful property. And we're advancing human rights and democracy on behalf of the Cuban people.
Well, America, as you can see, the Secretary of State was quite definitive in terms of what... I don't know what you're saying, David.
My hair looks okay.
Okay, yeah, okay. The Secretary of State is quite definitive in terms of what he thinks about in Cuba and what he wants to implement. We are leaving with a delegation of American, mostly gay men. Josie and her wife, Marcy, will be with us, but mostly gay men in Cuba. And we're going to be marching in the March Against Homophobia and Transphobia, Havana Pride, next weekend. I'm here with a collection of men that are part of our delegation, and I wanted to ask them some questions about what we're doing. First off, we have a slide here, if Jared can help us, about our Havana Pride messaging, and you can see what we're doing of Together with Pride. Our Cuba flag, our rainbow flag is the bridge to the American flag. We are going in a non-political way to support the gay community in Cuba. And please, everyone, welcome our guests that are happy to talk about what we're doing in Cuba. I want to begin, and I'm going to move around in this little kind of impromptu town hall that we're doing with Howard. And Howard is just returned from Cuba. And Howard, welcome to It's Happening Out.
Well, thanks, Al.
And I wanted to ask you about your experience. You've been there within the last 15 days.
I was there 2 weeks ago, yes.
2 weeks ago, all right. Now, tell us about your experience in Cuba.
I was only a day and a half in Cuba that I wish could have been a week and a half. I had a great time. I've never been to a country that I felt just so safe and so much history and so much just the people are just so incredibly nice. It was a really good vacation.
Yeah. And you were on a cruise.
I was.
And if you were not on a cruise, if you were staying on land, would you feel as safe and comfortable as if you were on the cruise ship?
1,000%. At night, I walked around by myself, a friend of mine and I, for a couple of hours, and just people in the street saying hello to each other, and cafes open all night long. It was just a really, really good, safe, wonderful community feeling.
Yeah. And
definitely going back.
And in full disclosure, America, I'm only guessing, but Howard's a big old mo. You seem to be a big old gay guy.
I seem to be, yeah.
Yes,
okay.
exactly. Howard's actually a friend of mine, America, and he was just there a couple of weeks ago. And Howard, in full disclosure, is one of the most famous gay adult entertainment what was we
Talent
say
agent.
talent agents, that's it, in America. He owns a company called Fab Scout, and I understand with It's Happening Out as sponsor, you're doing this event Labor Day weekend called PornCon here in Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, exactly. And it sounds like it's going to be a fun event.
I think it's going to be a blast. I think it's going to be an event that's going to be a legacy event that everybody's going to come to every year. This is year one, and it's going to be. I think for year one, the plans are going along great.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, we wanted to invite Howard to talk about his recent experience in Cuba. We have next to us Frank Garcia, and Frank Garcia works with the It's Happening Out staff. He created the logo imaging of the Cuban flag, the rainbow flag, and the U.S. flag. He is Cuban American. And for America watching, the reason Cuba is so difficult here in South Florida is because so much of the Cuban American community is based here in South Florida.
Yes.
Frank, you haven't been to Cuba, I understand.
I've never been to Cuba. No.
Yeah. You have watched this progress with It's Happening Out and Cuba and this experience to go there for Havana Pride. Having not been to Cuba, tell us a little bit about what you think about what's happening in Cuba and what we're doing.
Well, as we discussed earlier, probably about a week ago, you told me, because we had this conversation about putting this together, about whether or not I would ever go to Cuba. And having been brought up Cuban American in South Florida, my answer to you was, no, of course not. I would never go to Cuba. There is no reason that I would support that regime, because I thought that my dollars were going to that regime.
Mm-hmm.
Over the year, I've been able to meet Cuban people. I've been able to interact with the Cuban gay community. I've been able to see that it's not about politics. This is not about politics. Our trip, our delegation is not about politics. What it is a humanitarian and an educational experience that we're going to be having like no other.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious, Frank, being Cuban American, your parents growing up in Miami. Frank told me a story just yesterday that after the Mariel boat lift in the 80s, 17 family members were living in your 3-bedroom house.
My father worked for a company called Bertram Yachts, and for free, they were sending yachts out to be able to pick up anybody that was able to come. So we were picking up our family members, and at the end of about almost 2 months, for almost an entire year, we had 17 of our family members living in our 3-bedroom, 2-bath house.
Amazing. I'm curious, with all of these gentlemen, all of these gay men and women that are going to Cuba for Havana Pride, you're not joining us. And
I'm not.
How do you feel about missing this opportunity?
Well, the reason that I'm not going, let me please explain. The reason that I'm not going is for personal, family, medical reasons. It is not because I don't support this message or what it is that we are doing. I am not only there in spirit, but I am there completely in soul, because I created the logo that says that we are the bridge. The gay community is the bridge between Cuba.
Frank, I'm curious with that observation.
States.
What do you think about the concept that while you created that, it may be for a long, long time the last opportunity that you have to go to Cuba?
Well, I can always go to Miami, and that's little Cuba. But no, I'm very sad about that, because I've grown to know and meet a lot of the people in Cuba. And I really hope this isn't the last opportunity.
Yes, I do too. I want to, of course, as everyone knows, this is Napoleon Plays. Napoleon Plays is our crispy white boy going to
Crispy.
Cuba.
I like that.
He is
Crispy.
going on Sunday. Tell us about what you're looking forward to in experiencing
Oh my gosh.
Cuba. You haven't been?
I have not ever been to Cuba. I am so excited for everything that's going to be happening regarding traveling the entire country. I'm going a little bit early with Al so that he can hopefully not kill me. That's my biggest fear is him, not the country itself. But honestly, seeing the rest of it, see, we saw the murder in the eyes. No. Actually, Al is an expert in travel, so I'm really excited to see what he has planned for horseback riding and seeing some of the other towns. And then the big final blowout, no pun intended, for the gay events at the end of the trip are going to be something that is remembered for ever. I am so excited to meet Cuban guys. I'm so excited to eat the food, see what art is like there, just on a building level. I am so excited for every single thing about it. I can't wait to experience Cuban culture.
Let me walk over here in our little town hall. And if you don't mind introducing yourself, we've met tonight at our little briefing and getting ready to go. They're part of our American delegation. And I know you're a little more nervous, so I won't start with you. Tell us your name first.
Hi, my name is Arturo.
Arturo. And Arturo, tell us why you decided that you wanted to go to Cuba. You're not Cuban.
I'm Colombian.
Colombian, okay.
So Latin,
real close to your mouth.
Colombian.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the culture I already know, just living in Miami. I know the Cuban culture, but in an American setting. This is a complete new experience. It's once in a lifetime. And to be able to do this with friends and in such a loving community, there's nothing better.
Arturo, I'm curious, with all of the news that we have seen in the last couple of days in Cuba, are you nervous, even to the point of you're scared?
Not at all. No, not at all. When it comes to politics and things like that, I know there's a lot of negativity that goes with that. There's a lot of things that people say in the news more than anything. People like to make things worse than what they seem, in a sense of trying to get fear, because this is how the news makes money. But we're going to have such a great time. It's not something I'm worried about.
Good. Arturo, you're going to have a great time in Cuba. Now, tell us your name.
Hi, my name is Juan Carlos.
Juan Carlos. And Juan Carlos, you live here in South Florida?
I do. I live in Miami.
I'm curious, and I'm only assuming you're gay.
I am.
Yeah. Why would you want to interact with the gay community in Cuba, besides the obvious?
Besides, exactly.
Right.
Well, I feel like it's going to be an amazing experience. It's going to be something that I'm going to take for me for many years to come, and I'm going to be able to experience it myself. I mean, I've been personally before in Cuba many years ago, and to see this change from back a few years when I was there till now, I think it's going to be
And I understand you were in Cuba about 9 years ago.
About 9 years ago,
Yeah,
correct.
okay.
Yeah, I was there with my ex, and it was a different experience. It was going to definitely be more of a family trip. So this time I feel it's going to be more of a with friends, meeting the culture, meeting the people. So I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah. What are you most looking forward to experiencing Cuba?
I think experiencing the culture itself, meeting new people, meeting the actual liveliness of Cuba in itself, what it is and what it involves. I mean, being in Miami, I live in Miami. Like I said, pretty much I've lived here all my life. It's a great experience. I mean, I have very, very
Your
Cuban
family
friends.
roots are Cuban?
No. I'm actually Peruvian. I'm not
Peruvian.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. How do you think your reaction is going to be when you're marching in a national march in Cuba with gay men and gay women, and marching where thousands and thousands and thousands of Cubans are seeing you carry a Cuban and American flag with signage of America's gay community supporting them? How's that going to make you feel?
I think I'm gonna be in awe. I mean, I'm not gonna believe it at first, but I mean, obviously, I'm gonna be so proud. I'm gonna feel so happy to actually be part of this experience, because obviously, like as we all know, this is something that has not been permitted for many years, and for at all to many people. And to be part of this delegation and to be part of this community and this country itself and this once in a lifetime experience. It's gonna be life changing, I think.
Awesome. Life changing. What a fantastic word. Last, tell us who you are.
My name is Max.
Max. And Max, I come to last in our little town hall because Max is the most nervous in terms of doing this. Max, your family heritage is from where?
Colombian Italian.
You're Colombian and Italian. Why did you decide that you wanted to go to Cuba?
Just growing up on South Beach in Miami, where there's so many different diversities and stuff, just being able to go somewhere and enjoy the culture and experience something different and new is such a great experience. And I just wanted to experience something new and try something and meet, because you hear all this different stuff growing up in Miami about Cuba and about other stuff, and to go and experience it for myself and enjoy the culture is something that I had to do.
Yeah, absolutely interesting to me. Well, America, we're getting ready to leave, and it's something that has never been done in the United States before. An American delegation is going to Havana, and we are going to march in the National March Against Homophobia and Transphobia, and we're going to celebrate Havana Pride in terms of parties and activities, the parade and events. And we are going with a large American contingent that is going to support Cuba, and it is absolutely, I think, going to be life-changing for all of you. So congratulations for participating in this. All right, well, watch. Next week is going to be very interesting. I will be in Cuba, and actually, Chef Josie is going to be the host of It's Happening Out next Wednesday. I'll be watching from Havana. And I wish Josie luck. And we're going to have a great experience in Havana. And we'll be watching the show from Havana with a whole large contingent of Cubans that are going to be watching the show. And speaking of Josie, we're getting ready to do an interesting, remember iguana? Everybody remember what we did with iguana? Well, we're going to do iguana of the seas, lion fish. We're getting ready to do that. Watch this, America.
Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Chef Josie. It's happening out, and we are broadcasting live from the gayest place on planet Earth. This is our second cooking segment, and in light of our invasive species here in South Florida, we want to share with you, well, I'm bringing to you some lion fish. Crudo is a raw fish preparation that's served with a very flavorful sauce. So today with the lion fish, and let me show you what these little guys look like. Bloop, 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 bloop. And you grab the tail and you just take your knife along the skin. A nice little fillet. I'm going to need a few ingredients. These are Fresno chili, red onion. I'm going to use 1 clove of garlic, the zest of 1 orange, a lemon, and then right here, passion fruit puree. That's pretty much the trick to all good cooking. Fresh herbs, well-balanced citrus and acid. Citrus is going to help almost cook the delicate flesh of the lionfish. Passion fruit. Okay, so I take the garlic, I cut it in half, okay? That's going in just like a little paste. Just always test your food so you can season as you go. 1 ounce of extra virgin olive oil. An onion. Now this is the Fresno chilies. You can find them in your grocery store. In this vinaigrette, it's still developing. I've chopped up all the accoutrements that are going to accompany the lionfish. The last things that we're adding to the vinaigrette is 1.5 ounces of OJ. Then you're going to do a ½ teaspoon of honey. I'm going to go ahead and throw a tablespoon of minced. And I'm going to throw half of my chilies in there. Shingle it all over the plate. A little bit of sauce on it. So I'm going to finish it with a little bit of salt, olive oil, a little truffle oil. Finish off All right, so I'm Chef Josie. I'm going to go ahead and start eating my sophisticated lionfish right now. But as you can see, you can take the peskiest of animals and turn them into something delicious. This is Cooking with Chef Josie here on It's Happening Out. Check us out next month. Yeah.
Oh my God, it smells so good.
Well, this is really exciting to me. First off, I'm loving that America's most popular gay live talk show is doing a cooking segment. I mean, come on, that's awesome, first and foremost. And we have Chef Josie from Top Chef with us, and she and Marcy own a wonderful restaurant here in South Florida called Bubbles and Pearl.
So you're more
Pearls.
than just the token lesbian.
Exactly, you're more than a token lesbian, but I'm never going to say that again.
Okay.
So our first
Maybe we can cut
episode
that out.
was on giant green iguana. We got such a
God.
response on it. And Josie said, well, if we're going to do giant green iguana, let's do something similar to that. And we went to lionfish. And our reaction was, don't people die from lionfish? And we didn't really know much about what we were doing. They're invasive, but welcome. And our cooking segment. First off, the slide, the other slide about you with the knife.
Yeah.
My God, even as a gay man, it's hot as crap.
I know.
We all have. There it is.
There it is.
Yeah. That
Don't mess
slide
with-
is like an album cover. It is like an album.
You guys are gonna make me.
Can we go to the
No.
minute about how you can die eating lionfish? Lionfish.
I mean, listen.
So, explain to us, first off, we're doing Iguana of the Seas. That's a funny joke. I like that. But tell us about what you've done, lionfish.
All right, so what you got to know about lionfish? First, these little pesky little critters who live in our ocean are attacking our reefs. Okay?
Beautifully.
And they're so beautiful. They're the species that, I mean, just look at them. I mean, when you would
Sounds like
see
my
that
ex.
fish, you would see that fish, and you'd probably like love to engage with it and everything.
Fall in love with it, and it'll
We're
ruin your
talking
life.
about beautiful. We're talking about fashion. Zebra is in, and that lionfish is all. That lionfish is all about the zebra.
Bringing zebra,
print.
right?
Okay, sorry.
Fish face
Yeah.
Keep going.
No, I feel you. But unfortunately, when you're attacking our reefs and you're basically poisoning some of our other little species in our oceans here in South Florida, you're shifting the ecosystem, and it's causing problems. It's wreaking havoc. Okay, so right now, this is again the iguana of the sea, and so we take this. As you saw in the video, there's a lot of little preparations. It's not a poisonous fish. It's poisonous. What's poisonous are the little spikes, okay?
So that's why they're in owl's bowl. Okay,
yeah,
the spikes
I
are right
put
over
the
there.
extra in there.
Hopefully.
She'll be the moderator next week.
Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean forever?
He says he's going. He says he's going to Cuba, bitches. We got a plan. We got a
going
plan.
to the hospital.
But what we're
Wait till you get to Cuba. The healthcare is free.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So anyway, so that's what we do. I was telling you that in the video that you want to find fish that are at least like 1.5 to 2 pounds. There aren't a lot of usable protein on this animal.
Let's show the slide about the ingredients in preparation as Josie is doing this. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah, and what you want to do is you want to make sure there's a large enough fish. I get that we want to get rid of these species. However, there's not really much. I'm not into killing animals. Okay, that's not what it is. If we're going to sacrifice an animal, then we're going to have to eat it. I'm not sacrificing an animal for 1 ounce of meat. Let them live and do their thing. And if we need to remove them later, I'm totally about that. Same thing goes with iguana. I found that
Republicans.
Yes.
And that's the true story of Joe Brookman tonight.
So there you go.
All right.
Anyways, in this
explain to
dish,
us what's in front of us.
So in this dish, I made it into. If I were in my restaurant, it would be a crudo because I would not marinate it as long. As a ceviche, it's also not marinated as long, but it's marinated for a little while.
Kind of smells like scampi.
Oh my God, it smells so good.
Oh, I made a
So
special.
lemon.
I made a special one for you, Aaron. And
'Cause I'm special.
Yeah, I subbed out the changed out.
I was not eating any more invasive species.
Yeah.
okay?
instead of
Look,
lionfish.
That was delicious last week, but I
Well,
felt
what are you
greasy
eating?
for
What
like
is
2
what
days.
is Aaron eating?
Yeah, instead of lionfish, I'm using hearts of palm. Okay.
In lieu of. So
In
you're
lieu
doing
of,
the exact
yeah.
same ingredients, hearts of palm in lieu of the
Yeah,
lionfish.
so if you're
Okay.
vegetarian
All right.
out there,
We're at
even
the eating
vegan,
spot.
you can
We're
use
at the
it.
eating moment.
All right, all right.
Can we just taste it?
Oh my
Yeah.
God! Please,
mix
please.
it up and then
Mix it
Mix
up.
it up and sift it down and.
No! I don't even think I've ever had palm
All right.
hearts.
Is there cilantro here?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Are you
Okay.
allergic?
Oh my!
Am I allergic? He just
Look
this
at Al.
white
He
man
just
asked a Latin man if cilantro
Is a problem.
was too much. Like, hello.
Oh my God, that is
My
awesome.
mother put cilantro on her breast, and she breastfed.
There are
Pretty
so
much how
many
it goes.
flavors in that, Josie. Oh my goodness, and they
The
all
layers.
fight like yes.
Okay, child.
Yeah, eat it, Power. Eat
Oh,
it.
you're gonna love
There
it.
we
Swallow
go.
it.
Power,
There we
go
go.
Swallow that bitch.
She can swallow.
Yeah,
She
well, that was her
said
thing.
that.
She
This is
said
her
that was her
first time
secret skill was swallowing.
Okay, well,
but-
America, that is delicious. You should really look at this recipe. Lionfish, unless you go out and catch it. By the
gonna drink
way,
it.
Josie has connections where fishermen can go out and catch lionfish for her. Or, in a pinch, there's this place connected with Amazon called Whole Foods.
Yeah.
And
That
you can
also
get,
works.
Yeah, that actually works too.
Yeah.
This is delicious. We hope you're enjoying our segment on
gosh.
cooking with Chef Josie. I'm loving this. This is delicious.
Josie, can you tell us how you actually cooked the lionfish? Because you were saying something off camera, by the way, about how it was cooked. Was it actually cooked, or was it semi-cooked, or?
So the citrus is a process in which a citrus actually cooks the fish. Okay, so the acid in the citrus is what's going to cook the fish. It's not going to cook it as fast as putting it in a pan. It's going to take a few minutes. Okay,
like
but
laser
minutes.
cooking.
That quickly in minutes.
Yeah, minutes.
I'm going to cut all of these people off because this is delicious, and I want to get into another video package so I can eat more without being seen.
Eat
But
them to
thank
beat
you.
them.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much. The lionfish, the chicken, no, the iguana of the seas. It's delicious. Look at
week
this
is all
recipe. You
food,
should
right?
try it. And thank you
Food
very
special.
much to Chef Josie
Oh yeah.
for another great opportunity. Let's move on to our On the Road with Stonewall. As you know, June 30th, we will be celebrating the Stonewall celebration of the riots in New York City. It will be incorporated in National Pride, in the World Pride event in New York, and the show will recognize Stonewall on June 15th as we broadcast live the National Stonewall Parade right here in the gayest place on planet Earth, Wilton Manors, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We'll do 1 hour of It's Happening Out on Saturday, June 15th at, I believe, 3 o'clock, and then the parade will go live, and we will broadcast it live to the nation at 4 o'clock. It's going to be quite exciting. So, on our road to Stonewall, we celebrate tonight GLAAD's founder, Vito Russo. Watch this.
This is a set of criteria GLAAD created to analyze how LGBTQ characters are positioned in films. We named the Vito Russo test after celebrated film historian and GLAAD co-founder, Vito Russo.
For the last 3 years since I was diagnosed, my family thinks two things about my situation. One, they think I'm gonna die, and two, they think that my government is doing absolutely everything in their power to stop that. And they're wrong on both counts. So, if I'm dying from anything, I'm dying from homophobia. If I'm dying from anything, I'm dying from racism. If I'm dying from anything, it's from indifference and red tape. Because these are the things that are preventing an end to this crisis. If I'm dying from anything, I'm dying from the fact that not enough rich, white, heterosexual men have gotten AIDS for anybody to give a shit. AIDS wouldn't be what it is at this moment in history. It's more than just a disease, which ignorant people have turned into an excuse to exercise the bigotry they have always felt. It is more than a horror story exploited by the tabloids. AIDS is really a test of us as a people. When future generations ask what we did in this crisis, we're going to have to tell them that we were out here today. And we have to leave a legacy to those generations of people who will come after us. Someday the AIDS crisis will be over. Remember that. We're all going to be alive to kick the shit out of this system so that this never happens again.
I very much appreciate this recognition tonight and your kind reception. It really means a great deal to me. To receive an award named after Vito Russo is an incredible honor. The truth is, though, I know that I'm not worthy of it at all. I read The Celluloid Closet when I was in high school, and it opened my eyes to the way that movies and the media for generations portrayed us, and how those unfair and inaccurate portrayals affected us all. Vito Russo was a hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vito! Well, America, we're very proud of our segment Road to Stonewall because we're really educating many, especially young gay Americans, of who were important of laying the foundation of why we are even celebrating the Stonewall riots. It is our civil rights movement, and so we're very proud of this segment and GLAAD's founder, Vito Russo, tonight. As we always do with the Road to Stonewall, we ask the hosts to tell us something that they think is important about our gay icon that we celebrate. And tonight we will do the exact same thing. And let's, as always, first and foremost is power.
Yes, I would like to actually talk about not a personal accomplishment, but about his impact in the world around him. Merrill College in UC Santa Cruz established the Vito Russo House to promote LGBT awareness and provide a safe and comfortable environment for LGBT and straight supporting students who value and appreciate diversity. And my quote tonight from Vito Russo is, "You can't plead tolerance for gays by saying that they're just like everyone else. Tolerance is something we should extend to people who are not like everyone else."
Excellent. Aaron.
So, as an activist, of course, I have to talk about his work as an activist. He dedicated his whole life to shifting the narratives about our gay community, and he was actually a very active member of ACT UP, which is if you don't know, some folks my own age, please look it up. They were an incredible activist organization who did huge things they shut down the FDA. It's a big deal. They did direct protest actions that, they weren't afraid to get arrested. They weren't afraid to do what had to be done to bring that conversation to the forefront. So, my quote, Vito Russo said, "It is an old stereotype that homosexuality has to do only with sex, while heterosexuality is multifaceted and embraces love and romance."
Excellent. Josie.
So Vito Russo, as you may know, is the co-founder of GLAAD, which is the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation. That was created to be a watchdog group to promote understanding, increase acceptance, and advance equality with a focus on how LGBT members of our community are portrayed in the media. Vito Russo said, "If I'm dying from anything, it's from indifference and red tape."
Carlos.
I think it's kind of going with the same theme that you have, but the Vito Russo test is an award that was created by GLAAD, and the test analyzes the LGBT characters included in film and on TV, and it helps filmmakers creating multi-dimensional gay characters. Some of the recipients are Katie Lang, RuPaul, your friend, Ricky Martin, Nathan Lane, and he did say, no one ever asked what causes heterosexuality. That's a hard word. Because no one is interested in stopping it.
Unfortunately.
Napoleon.
Yes. He is the author of the book, The Celluloid Closet, and New York Times called that book an essential reference book on homosexuality in the U.S. film industry. In other words, if you don't own it and you want some kind of library, make sure you go out and get it. One of his quotations in relation to that, "The root of heterosexual fear of male homosexuality is in fact that anyone might be gay. Straight men aren't threatened by a flamboyant faggot because they know they aren't like that. They're threatened by a guy who's just like they are, who turns out to be queer. Powerful words, man.
Our road to Stonewall is, as I started our segment, I think very important. The vast majority of young gay America, unless you're a Lady Gaga or an Elton John, they're unknown. They're anonymous. It means that we're not paying attention to the people who paved the path for us. And that's the value of the Stonewall celebration for June 28th, marking the anniversary, and then the parade on June 30th. And of course, here in South Florida on June 15th, the National Stonewall Parade. I hope you'll pay attention. Go back and read or watch many of the Stonewall segments we've done, and you're going to learn a lot about our gay community as we celebrate tonight our gay icon, Vito Russo, the founder of GLAAD. Let's move on to something that happened in the news this week that Bernie Sanders created. Bernie Sanders in a town hall, or last week, started a conversation about prisoner voting rights. Let's begin by showing you what Bernie Sanders and others said about prisoners' voting rights. Watch this.
Were real divisions between these candidates. One of them was on an issue which was a surprise to me, which was when Senator Bernie Sanders said he supported voting rights for people in prison, felons in prison, including the worst of the worst. So listen to what Senator Sanders said, and then listen to the different other positions that the candidates carved out for themselves. Watch.
I think the right to vote is inherent to our democracy. Yes, even for terrible people.
While incarcerated?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
There you have Bernie Sanders being Bernie Sanders, staking out a very far left position on this. Kamala Harris essentially saying, she has to study it. And then Pete Buttigieg, I think, really taking another firm decision, and probably a decision, I think, an approach that most other Democrats will take, which is to say that, listen, they're in jail, they are deprived of some rights while they're in jail, but when they get out of jail, then they should have their voting rights restored.
Well, a big topic, of course, as we march to the national elections, the first Tuesday in November of 2020, Bernie Sanders puts out, and others comment on prisoners' voting rights. What do y'all think about what's being discussed about prisoner voting rights?
The thing that's interesting here for me is that we have a choice, each of us individually. We can act in hope and the faith that the Constitution and a constitutional right to vote is what we should uphold, or we can act in fear and fear that the people that are in jail are going to not do something right, whatever that means, with their vote. And honestly, it comes down to that completely. Do we want to act in hope or do we want to live in fear? It's each of our individual choices.
I mean, we let all those white women vote, and 50-something% of them voted for Trump. So, you know, just saying. Just saying. Listen, I would have clapped for that video, except that I wasn't trying to give any extra cookies to Bernie Sanders. He's got enough.
Yeah.
But it's an important conversation, and I actually pushed this conversation because I think some people assume that the prison incarceration conversation isn't relevant to us, but it is. 3 times LGBT people are 3 times more likely to be incarcerated in their lifetime than the straight population. For trans people, it's 6 times more likely. And I'm sure it's not just because we're all, 3 or 6 times more unlawful, and disobedient. There's systematic reasons behind that.
Other thoughts?
I mean, it comes down to the place where, look, people are incarcerated for the wrong reasons every single day. There's false incarcerations that are happening, and it seems to affect the people of color, the people who are, excuse me, I'm just getting over something, I apologize.
It affects the sick people too.
Well, to say what you want to say,
Why don't we give you a
there's
moment?
people that get incarcerated just because of marijuana, and there's currently 465,000 presumed innocent people in jail waiting for trial. Some of them because they can't afford bail.
Cash bail, exactly.
And then before this whole, we had a meeting before, and this is a live show, and we don't know what we're going to say, but we do have some sort of rhythm, and I knew what we were going to talk about. And I thought like, oh, incarcerated people should not vote. But I changed my mind since 2 o'clock this afternoon. Like I was just like, wait a minute, these people cannot afford to pay bail, not veil. But you know what I mean. And I was just flabbergasted. I was like, this is something that needs more investigation, more development.
Another area of reform. We need to be able to set parameters for who exactly, in terms of the penal system, who exactly is going to lose certain rights. I think that if you're persecuted for and convicted for a serious crime, I honestly think you don't get to vote. I'm sorry, it is what it is. You made a choice too when you maybe possibly took someone's life, or when you armed robbery a bank. I don't really care about this.
Power, you're making like a big
I want to try
face.
to.
I want to know what you have to say.
I want to
I'm
bring
gonna
this to
say
a
what I have to
conclusion.
say.
Well, then say it.
She's
'Cause I'm gonna
using
close
her
this
chip.
segment.
She's waiting.
You can't close me out, bitch.
Okay.
Oh, I see the chip there.
I will use my chip in a second, but people that are in jail, it's different from in prison.
Yeah.
So what you're describing is somebody that they can't make bail and they're in jail. They just got picked up.
I got you.
What have you. What he said, let's go back to what he said.
Yeah.
He said he believes that anybody that is incarcerated, even terrible people, should be able to vote.
so.
I absolutely do not agree with that. Now, everybody else on this panel might, but of course, I don't give a damn. I say what I say and feel how I feel.
Yeah.
I do not agree with that. The person that killed my friend Wanda is in jail, DeAndre Tolliver. So you're telling me that he should be able to get a vote? Oh, no ma'am. No. And I feel that the study that Aaron referred to, I think, is something that needs to be addressed. I think that is a problem that needs to be addressed within our criminal institution, our criminal justice system. That study, however, raises awareness of the heightened risks that sexual minority populations face for sexual victimization, for isolation, disproportionate punishment, and distress. However, that to me is different and separate from the punishment that is already given to people that are incarcerated and that have been convicted of serious crimes.
Well, I believe 75% of people agree with you, regardless of this table, actually agree with your point of view.
Including me.
The sad thing about this, and I expressed this kind of at the host meeting this afternoon. What's far more at play here is not whether it's right or wrong, but whether Democrats can get more votes by allowing and extending voting rights, or Republicans can take away voting rights by denying it. And to me, that's the most important issue in this conversation.
Interesting.
It's not whether it's right or wrong, but who benefits or who is harmed by it.
Reform.
And to me, that is a reform issue of justification. Unless there's anything else, let's move on to our final.
Aaron's waving the chip.
All right. Chip goes in right there,
Right
because I
there.
need that drink.
I'm sure you will. So here's the thing. You mentioned the number of people in jail, just jail that are, or just being booked and waiting for whatever, is a large number. But there's still in prison who are, it's estimated by experts who study these things, approximately 20,000 people right now are currently in prison and have been convicted who have been falsely convicted. Half of those happen to be black. Shocker. So, and the thing is, it's not so much just, it's a deeper layered conversation than just, oh, people of color get arrested more or trans people get arrested more. It's, prison is a tool that is used to take power away from communities. And as long as, when you have no vote, you have no power. So, you know what I mean. Every time I say the word power, I get thrown off. But as long as prison is still a tool that makes it so that we're taking power away from people, then prison will remain a tool that is an allure for the law enforcement to use to continue to oppress people. Don't you think that if we restored that voting right, that might make people who are in jail or who are making bad decisions actually want to reform themselves?
Okay.
I'm going to throw in my chip too.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to stack it.
Getting so messy.
I'm going to throw in my
There we
chip
go.
because, I want to echo a little bit of what's going on here. and also speak my truth about prisons right now are a business, guys. Okay,
Absolutely.
there are private institutions. They're privatized. People who are making money off of incarcerating people. They're treating them like slaves. That's what's happening on our watch in our country, where we're supposed to be, providing safe space. I'm not saying that even murderers get to be treated humanely. Okay, they're not animals. They're still human beings. When we start to privatize the penal system, the justice system, what we're doing is we're taking the power away from the people who are us, and we're putting it into investors and people who are looking to make a dollar, and they're not concerned with the well-being of their prison or their prisoners or their story or the reform. They're invested into the bottom line.
And next.
Okay, let me put my chip in. Okay, so I have carefully listened to everything that Aaron and Josie have said, and I am all about humane treatment for our prisoners. However, I do not think that humane treatment extends to voting rights. I think that's far and apart from that issue. Freedom itself is an inalienable right. The right to freedom, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. However, you give up some of those rights when you are incarcerated. Yes, there are 20,000 people that are unfairly incarcerated, but I think that is a small number when you compare it to, for that number, I would not be willing to allow prisoners to have the right to vote just on 20,000 people alone. I say get those 20,000 people out of there. I say fix our criminal justice system and help those people, but I'm not about to throw out the baby with the bathwater, so to speak, when it comes to voting rights.
What if you added to that number, if you don't mind? What if you added to that number the people who are incarcerated, for example, marijuana offenses and totally nonviolent offenses? What if we added that number? Would that...
And do you agree?
Well, she didn't give me a chance to answer, but I just think blanket-wise, if you have done the crime, you've signed up for the consequences, and the consequences mean you don't get to vote. I'm all for giving you back your voting rights after you get out of prison.
Are you coming in?
Yeah, I'm coming in. Yeah. And I don't even have a minute. But there's got to be a massive re-evaluation of the system. That's all I want. I don't need this or that, like the game we play here. I just think that there has to be a middle ground. And I didn't have a middle ground because I was on your side this afternoon, and then I went to his side by the time that I researched. So it just needs to be more information and reevaluation.
Okay.
That's all
so
I have
now we're
to
getting
say.
into prison reform
All
overall.
right.
Overall.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
I got a lot of chips.
Oh,
You got
I
it.
already used mine. I'm just making it a pile because it's bothering me.
Okay, so there's a lot to talk about. I'm surprised Bernie Sanders did hit a chord here in terms of what we're
And
doing.
Mayor Pete.
And Mayor Pete, but really it was
Maybe they
generated
should
by
team
Bernie
up.
Sanders.
Those that are following.
No, Mayor Pete's not involved in this at all. He's only brought in as a comment on Bernie Sanders'
On
concept.
saying no.
That's it.
Yeah.
A hard
okay.
no.
The last thing that we're going to do tonight is play another game called My New Favorite Thing. And I ask the host to tell me and America what's their new favorite thing this week. Who would like to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
So this past weekend was Claw, which for those of you in the leather community already know, and everyone else, here you go. It is the Cleveland Leather Awareness Weekend. And the reason that it's my new favorite thing is because it's a weekend about brotherhood and education, specifically within the leather and fetish fields. It's a field that is often seen as being somehow dangerous or aggressive, and it brings great light to the entire leather community. I've seen posts from friends about the trans acceptance that they've felt there, about being of any age and being accepted there, about being new to it and being accepted there. I'm so excited for the people that just went to this Claw, and I can't wait to go myself.
Okay, that sounds great. Somebody else.
Is he still talking
New
about
favorite
Avengers?
thing.
Since we're staying in fashion and leather, I just want to say that the Tony Awards, because you're an actress,
I will not be diminished.
I am so excited. You're not diminished. You just are. Bob Mackie was just nominated for Best Costume for the Cher
Seriously?
Show.
Awesome.
Yes.
I didn't know
and
that.
I went to the Cher Show because I'm a name dropper like you.
Yeah.
And by the way, I do have to say, people, I love his blouse shirt.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful.
Blouse.
But anyway,
blouse for a blouse.
Bob Mackie was just nominated for a Tony nomination, and I am so excited.
My
for
gosh,
that.
how old is Bob Mackie, do you think?
973.
Child, wait, let me hold the mirror up here. All right. Okay.
All right, I'm going to share my new favorite thing.
Oh my God.
These are my Bowie Vans. They just came in the mail.
So
Check
jealous.
these babies out.
so
Okay, I
jealous.
got my red kicks
damn.
back. Look at those. I haven't even laced them up yet. They're so fresh and so clear.
That is some
I'm
They
hating
say
it.
Bowie all over them. They're
is
like,
hot.
oh man. So
I'm
Bowie,
hating, I'm hating so hard right now.
I'm kind of hating you right now.
maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't do it, girl.
I'm hating hard
If you lose
right
it in Cuba, you can't go back to get it.
That goes for your
Maybe
virginity
I'll
too.
trade it
That's
for
true.
one of the Cuban
America,
cars.
I'm not sure you heard that soundbite. If you lose it in Cuba, you can't go back and get it. And that's because something big is coming. unfortunately.
Trumpy.
All right.
Oh, and my wife got them for me, so that's
very
pretty
nice.
cool.
Okay.
We all love you, Marcy. I'm going last.
Your new
Go ahead.
favorite thing this week?
My new favorite thing, true Christians. True Christians is my new favorite thing. And I don't mean the Christians that we see all the time on social media that are Bible thumping against gays and against this, the ones that are judging. I'm talking about the Christians that actually reflect the love of God, actually are
Amen.
there to actually show appreciation and inclusion, and the ones that were with me and my family during my hard time when my brother died, and they didn't care who I was, what I was. They were just there reaching out in the true
awesome
spirit
statement. That's
of
very-
Christianity.
very
So
Yes.
true Christians, that's my
Love that.
new favorite thing for the week.
And
Awesome.
Aaron, tell
You're
us.
my favorite Christian, by the way.
Thank
As
you.
the atheist at the table, I felt the need to say that.
I'll be your second favorite Christian.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally have some of my best, some of my best
too.
friends.
Wait. All right. Your new favorite thing?
So my new favorite thing, and this is a surprise to all of y'all, my new favorite thing is lobbying for in Congress.
Hey!
So last year, God, it feels like a year ago. Last week we talked about the gay and trans panic defense and how Nevada just passed a bill to ban it. Only the fourth state. So I am basically here with a bill that I drafted myself this week.
Yes.
It was stressful, not gonna lie. I
He's on
learned a
our
lot.
show, by the way. We got him.
I learned a lot. I did. So this is my first piece of Florida legislature that I have drafted, and I would love for you all to sign
I'm
it.
in. Whatever.
Right here.
I
it's happening.
feel like a president about to sign a bill.
Right.
Oh, no, that's not a compliment
Hey,
right
if
now,
only,
sweetheart.
right? If only.
That's fantastic.
You all are the first to sign it, the first to even see it.
We make change on this show.
We'll
Exactly.
see.
All right. Well, America, that is our show tonight. We want to. We have a slide. We want to tell you that we had a little technical difficulty at the top about the Grand and Wilton Manors. We just want to tell you, on May 15th, we're going to implement our new set. And a new set is coming here at the Grand.
Wait, you're
We're
firing all of
here
us?
So proud of you.
And new hosts
you,
are coming.
man.
New hosts are coming.
Yeah, that's
but we're going to have the new set here.
Signing that.
And yes, I'm signing as we go.
I'd sign that.
And, we're going to have the new set here at the Grand, and we're showing you a slide here. We're broadcasting from the gayest place on planet Earth, Wilton Manors, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and the Grand Hotel is really our partner in what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And as we say goodnight tonight, we tell you, as we always say, It's Happening Out is trying to find the celebration of what's good in our community. Is there value in gay community? Is there gay culture? We are on the pursuit to find it. And so as we say goodnight,
Before we say goodnight, how can other people sign this that are
I
watching?
was just going to say that.
Well, you could pass it around the room,
Yeah.
and also I will have a change.org petition will be posted like immediately after we leave here.
Yes.
Go to my
Check out all of our
go to my page, Aaron Phoenix, on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Grindr,
We are
whatever.
so proud
I'm
of
on all
you.
of those.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so as we say goodnight tonight, we'll start with Power.
Good night, children.
And my friend Aaron Phoenix, who is now writing
Legislation?
legislation.
That's a scary
in
thought, isn't
Florida.
it?
I kind of
The
tumbled
word
over
is
my tongue.
legislature.
Good night, gender fuckers.
Good night, beautiful people. Stay hungry.
And Carlos Marrero.
Good night, fashionistas.
And Napoleon Plays.
Good night, Cubans. Napoleon plays and you soon.
Yes.
Oh,
Absolutely. So this week is a big week,
Golden.
and it's happening out. We're going to Cuba. It's our first time that we're going to be abroad, and we're going to be in the middle of the middle. If you turn on the news, Cuba, Venezuela, America, South Florida Cuban American community, and the gay community as they march in their national march against homophobia and transphobia is next Saturday. The American delegation is coming. I know there are thousands of Cubans watching tonight on Island and will watch all this coming week to this show as what we have done tonight in the Little Town Hall. We are coming to Cuba because we believe in our gay community. And it doesn't matter if our gay community is in South Beach or in Havana or in Wilton Manors or it's Stonewall in Greenwich Village. We're one gay world. And if it's important to you, remember, we're here because it's happening out. Good night, America.
Thanks so much for watching us. If you like what you saw, please subscribe to our channel and follow us on Facebook.